The iPhone 3G was the second ever iPhone released in July of 2008. It came along with the awaited 3G networking as well as a redesign. Though not a massive upgrade from the first iPhone, the iPhone 3G was the first stable iPhone that had all the base features that people desired in a smartphone 12 years ago. Hey guys, I'm Ethan from Alumni Tech 47, and today we are going to be looking at my iPhone 3G in mint condition running iPhone OS 2. I guess I'll start with a little background of the OS before we get into the phone itself. And the reason for that is I have my iPhone 3G here running iPhone OS 2, and although I don't want this to be all about iPhone OS 2 or just about the iPhone 3G, I want it to be about both. I'll get the announcement of the phone and OS first, since there isn't much to talk about there. Now, the iPhone 3G was the second iPhone ever to be released by Apple. They announced it on June 9th of 2008 and released it to the public in the following month. While at the event, they also talked about the software that was going to be running on the iPhone 3G, and that was iPhone OS 2. iPhone OS 2 was a minor but much needed upgrade from the original OS that ran on the iPhone 2G. One of the most prominent features that came with iPhone OS 2 was the App Store, along with the SDK software for developers. You can now run third-party apps rather than the so-called web apps that most people were using anyway. You also had the usual apps that came with the iPhone, like a calculator, which is now Scientific, phone, SMS, as well as widget apps. In Maps, you still have Google Maps, so that's always good. Also, in settings, there is now airplane mode, which is good for what it says. iPhone OS 2 did cost $9.95 to upgrade on the iPod Touch, but it was and is always free on the iPhone. People back in 2008 said that iPhone OS 2 was much needed over the original because the second generation of something is still better. Going back to the iPhone 3G, the design was different from the original iPhone in that it had a full plastic back. It was a shiny curved back that had the Apple logo as well as the storage and FCC labels. Back there you also have the same 2-megapixel camera that the original iPhone had. On the sides of the phone, you have the stainless steel frame going around it. You also have the new metal buttons that were easier to press and wouldn't get gummed up. On top, you have the SIM tray as well as the flush headphone jack, which people cheered at the event for.
Flush headphone jack, so you can use any headphones you like.
On the front of the phone, you have the same 3.5-inch display and the home button. There's also a speaker up top as well as the proximity sensor. The iPhone 3G came in white on the back as well, but I do not have that color with me. The specs on this phone were not much better from the original iPhone, although you do now have 3G cellular connectivity. People weren't happy about the original iPhone not having 3G, but Apple promised to bring it in the next iPhone. But on the contrary, the CPU, GPU, as well as the RAM are the exact same as the 2G iPhone. You have a better battery, though with up to 300 hours standby time from 250 and 10-hour talk time from 8 hours. The camera is still the same camera from the iPhone 2G, which means it can't natively record video, nor can it autofocus. I'll show you some photos that I took from my iPhone 3G right now. As you can see, the photos are grainy and don't do too good in dark environments. Maybe it's just not good at all, but people were happy about it fitting it into their pocket back then anyway. Now to finish, let's talk about my iPhone 3G that you have seen throughout the entire video. I bought this iPhone on January 4th of this year on eBay for about $45. And of course, I bought this phone because it showed that it was running iPhone OS 2, which is the original OS that ran on the 3G. Now on this channel, I like to see the life of this iPhone based on the OS it's running as well as the history of versions of iOS it ran. The iPhone 3G was manufactured on May 26, 2009, which means that the phone would have run iPhone OS 2.2.1. In fact, this iPhone still runs 2.2.1. iPhone OS 3 wasn't released until June 10th, which was 9 days after this iPhone was purchased. This phone was never updated since it came out of the factory, and judging from the condition of this phone, it was probably never used either. I didn't receive any original packaging from this phone or anything like that, and I bet this seller didn't really care about the value of what this iPhone could have been. It's basically in mint condition. Also, the standby time of this phone here is pretty good. I have an original iPhone that I have replaced the battery on, and it is not nearly as good as this phone. I made sure that I put a screen protector on this iPhone so that it wouldn't get scratched. It's too bad that there isn't really much way to adequately protect the back, but I think I won't be using this phone at all. I would also like to point out that the App Store and the iTunes Store don't work on iPhone OS 2 anymore. It's like the built-in YouTube app, where in this case it'll just say cannot connect to iTunes Store, and that is why I can't show you how it games. But all in all, the iPhone 3G in 2008 was an excellent, stable phone that people could use reliably with some desirable features that were necessary at the time. That's all I have to say about this phone, although it's not as iconic as the original iPhone. Still, it was a great iPhone that a lot of people used throughout the rest of the early 2000s. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe for more great content. I got more plans in the future as the channel progresses. You should also follow me on Instagram at alumnitech47 so you can balance your social life. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.